Hey guys, so I want to come on here and share a very encouraging testimony, missionary testimony that I came across that really edified me. And it kind of goes to show the power of faith in God and how even one little mustard seed of faith and obedience God can take and use and blossom into something you never thought possible. And to never give up hope or become discouraged, because God always sees the bigger picture and knows what he's doing. And so the story that I'm referring to is the story of David and Svea Flood, who were Swedish missionaries to the Congo in Africa in the 1900s. And this faithful couple left everything behind, their whole life behind, and moved to the Congo, I believe with another missionary couple, and gave their entire lives to seeking to spread the gospel in Africa. Yet while they were there, they were kind of plagued a little bit by discouragement, because the only person they really came across their path who they were successfully able to share the gospel with was a little boy who would sell them chicken and eggs. And they didn't really notice any success otherwise. And so I don't know how long they were there for, but it was quite a while. And they were starting to feel like discouraged and disheartened. And then to top everything off, the wife, Svea Flood, she gave birth to a daughter, and she unfortunately contracted an illness and passed away. And so at this point, David, her husband, became extremely disheartened and angry with God, and he kind of just gave up everything. He gave up his faith. He left everything behind, his missionary efforts. He even gave up his daughter, and he left the Congo, and he kind of just left the faith and hated God and was very angry with God, and he had felt like God had let him down and ruined his life, and that nothing had come about from his missionary work and service. And so, a long story short, I really encourage everybody to read and look into this story, because it's just so beautiful and encouraging how God worked everything out, detail by detail. But long story short, the daughter that had resulted from David's first marriage, she was given to a couple who had moved to the United States, and she had eventually become a Christian and a missionary herself. And through divine circumstances, she was brought back to this same village that her dad and her mom had been missionaries to. And she had found out through happenstance and through just like divine intervention the whole story behind her parents and her upbringing. And she was able to reconnect with her father, and also find out more information about the village that her parents had served in and what had come about. And so what she had found out was that the little boy, the one little person that they were successfully able to minister to and to convert to Christianity, he had taken that seed of faith and that gospel, and he had spread it to his entire village, little by little, first to the children in the village, and then through them to their parents. And the entire village had converted to Christianity by that point, through the missionary and evangelistic efforts of this little boy that had been affected by David and Svea Flood. And at this point, the whole village had become Christian, and they were so thankful. And when Aggie Hurst, the daughter of David and Svea Flood, found this out, she was able to be reconnected with her father. She tracked him down, her biological father. And again, at this point, he was still cursing at God and angry with God, and he didn't understand why this was all allowed to happen. But when she revealed to him what had come about as a result of his obedience and his wife's obedience and faith, she relayed to him that his efforts were never in vain, and that God had always been listening, and God had honored their efforts, and that this whole village had come to Christ as a result, in part to their obedience to Christ for those many years and the sacrifices that they made. And she reminded her father that Jesus just loved him so much, and that everything had happened for a reason and for a purpose, and that God had worked everything out for good. So again, I just wanted to share that little tidbit. I just think it's just so beautiful to know and to remember that God works everything out. He really does work everything together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So that we should never be discouraged and just always keep our faith, because we don't know what God is going to do with our sacrifices and the work that we do for him. Because as the scriptures say, the efforts of the Lord and the labor that we do for him, it is never going to be in vain.